So, there's this popular YouTuber named Chibi Reviews who is known for being the #1 defender of anime when fighting against censorship, and he has gotten himself into an epic Twitter debate against another YouTuber named Schlep, who's known for catching predators through sting operations. The epic battle between these two started because Schlep made a post on Twitter saying, "I stand with Gideon when saying Lolicon is pedophilia. Can't tell you how many predators I've caught that end up having some type of child erotica." I'm not gonna go through the entire Twitter back and forth these two had because Chibi decided to center a response video over just this one tweet where Schlep claims attraction to Lolicon equals pedophilia, which is defined as a sexual interest in prepubescent children. I guess part of the debate is whether that term includes sexualized art depicting fictional minors, since why are certain people attracted to Lolicon? Anyways, Chibi decided to make a response video because, to him, Schlep is making the argument that Lolicon is just as bad as actual child sexual abuse material. He believes this because when Schlep originally made this post, he took out the word anime when describing child erotica, showing he's conflating the two. Now, I don't know for sure what the intent was here behind editing out the word anime, but if Schlep's position is that CSAM and Lolicon are comparable, then that is an incredibly stupid position to have, considering only one actually inflicts harm on children. This smelly discussion fell under the spotlight because instead of Chibi just uploading a response video on YouTube, he instead felt the need to announce to everyone that he's crafting a Lolicon defense video. Fuck it. I'm making a lolly defense video today. I've already been canceled, had hundreds of thousands of death threats and false accusations. I have nothing to lose, and I will not stop speaking up for freedom of expression within artwork. Let me just start by saying, if you're expecting a video of Chibi talking about how much he loves wanking it to little cartoon girls, you won't find it in this video. As smelly as it is to make a Lolicon defense video, most of Chibi's arguments are centered around protecting free speech. However, there is a difference when it comes to making an obvious distinction between CSAM and Lolicon, and then there's outright defending cartoon children being drawn for sexual gratification, along with sharing your obsession with sexualized cartoon children for you and your other creep friends to admire, which is exactly what this dumpster fire of a video is. Just because CSAM is worse doesn't mean it's morally correct to defend fictional children being sexualized. Anyways, let's start.
I want to catch a lot of heat for this video and probably receive hundreds of thousands of death threats for even making a video discussing lollies and even trying to defend lollies, but we're going to get right into it because I've already faced death threats, I've already faced slander, false accusations, people doxing me, sending me stuff in the mail, all sorts of horrific stuff for my stances on fictional content. So, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going to bow down and bend the knee. I'm going to just straight up get into what needs to be said.
This has nothing to do with Chibi's argument or talking points, but I can't fucking stand this martyrdom attitude he projects, like he's the only one willing to stand up for the little guy and wants everyone to know.
I'm gonna get tons of hate, guys, but someone had to say it.
Yes, thank you, Chibi, for standing up for those who jerk off to cartoon children. Clearly this marginalized group needs to be protected.
What really shocks me is that an individual that has their entire career based around being a predator catcher is someone that cannot separate fiction from reality. That is what really blew me away when I saw this post today, and the amount of damage that this post and this individual is going to cause to actual real people and victims out there and allow criminals to actually get away.
What? Yes, apparently claiming that Lolicon enthusiasts are pedophiles is actually damaging to victims of CSAM and actually helps criminals get away. I'm very curious what he has to offer later on in the video to back up this stance.
He also responded to me twice before I even uploaded this video, and instead of even countering the points I made, he decided to go straight into slandering me, bringing up my personal life that's completely irrelevant to the topic at hand.
So, Schlep made fun of your fiance cucking you because you're into Lolicon, and you respond by saying,
Actually, my wife was also attracted to cartoon children.
owned.
And so let's just get right into this. So first off, let's address the elephant in the room, which is what Schlep is talking about. He's talking about how lollies are basically, if you like lollies, you defend lollies, you're a PDF. That's what he is pretty much saying in this post.
No, he associated Lolicon with pedophilia, not lolly. One refers to characters that look like children, and the other sexualizes those same characters. I'm having a hard time believing you'd mix up the two, considering you're someone who looks at this shit every day, so I'm going to have to assume you're deceptively trying to downplay Schlep's issue with this material. In this tweet, he's not saying if you simply like lolly characters, you're a pedophile. He's saying if you're attracted to art that sexually depicts fictional children, you're a pedophile. Now, if Schlep does believe lolly characters themselves are an issue, then Chibi needs to provide evidence of that being the case. Anyways, Chibi goes over Schlep editing the tweets we covered already, and how this edit could come off as conflating CSAM with Lolicon.
I don't think I need to really explain why this is bad, but it obviously is very disingenuous in trying to basically make a molehill into a mountain, or trying to make something look worse than it actually is. Pretty much saying that, basically, nobody would care if it was a drawing, but the fact that he removed that wording of anime from it, it makes people tune in more to what he's saying and believe what he's saying is actually talking about real victims and real people that are actually getting harmed.
This might be the only semi-decent point Chibi makes if we assume that's Schlep's position, but trust me, it's all downhill from here. We're about to enter a realm of delusion like we've never seen before. Remember when Chibi made the notion that claiming Lolicon is pedophilia can resort to real victims being harmed and actually serves to help criminals? Well, now we get to finally hear his brilliant logic.
You are a police officer in, the office at the county sheriff office or whatever, and you only have a certain amount of officers. Let's say there's 30 or 50 officers within the police office. You receive a call that apparently someone is harming someone, and you take this call, you take it very seriously because it's your job. So you go and investigate, and when you go and investigate whatever's going on, you come to find out it's actually just a drawing. It's a pixel on the screen. It's nothing. There's nobody being hurt, no victims, nothing. It is just entirely a drawing on the screen. And I don't think I really need to outline why this is a problem, but all this does is it stalls police from being able to actually catch real criminals and help victims be able to recover. It really just actually overloads the system, and it causes a limited amount of resources to be used for false calls. That's pretty much what happens in this case with people that can't separate fiction from reality.
Within this incredibly hyperbolic situation, we have a police force that is both understaffed and simultaneously swamped with Lolicon reports, to the point that all of the child abuse stuff is being overlooked and not given priority. And this is apparently why anti-Lolicon is indirectly responsible for victims of CSAM being harmed. This is easily one of the biggest fucking reaches I've ever heard in my life. You're telling me there's this influx of Lolicon reports that's interfering with child abuse cases? Yeah, I think I would like to see some evidence of that if you don't mind. Or if this is simply just supposed to be a hypothetical, I don't find it believable at all. You think people jerking off to cartoon children are the problem? Well, take a look in the mirror, buddy. Another issue I have with Chibi's video, besides defending this grotesque shit, is his relentless pussyfooting for the bystanders of this discussion. What I mean is that in a way to defend himself, Chibi admits in his video, yeah, I understand if you think Lolicon is a little bit weird and it's not your thing, and that's understandable.
Now, I do want to talk about something that does need to be acknowledged, and that is lolly in general. Now, look, I'm just gonna outright say it. If you find lollies and stuff weird, completely fine. I think there is nothing wrong with someone thinking it's weird, bizarre, whatever, you don't want to associate with people like that. Fine, that's completely fine. It's well within your right to do that.
But right after, he'll remind his viewers that some people believe Lolicon is just as bad as CSAM, in a way to distract viewers from him downplaying Lolicon.
However, you cross a line when you start calling people accusations that aren't true. For instance, you calling them a PDF, or you start comparing a drawing or a pixel to an actual living, breathing human.
The reason why Lolicon enjoyers, like Chibi, feel comfortable sharing their love for anime children is because they believe since it isn't a real child, then it must be automatically acceptable, as if something not automatically being CSAM is the only criteria we should be worried about, because if it's not a real kid, then what's the problem? Now, as I said, CSAM is objectively worse than Lolicon because actual children are harmed by CSAM. If you claim both are on the same level, then then you are being completely disingenuous. However, when people like myself claim that individuals who find cartoon children sexy are degenerate freaks, the only defense I ever see is,
well, at least it's not real sexualized children.
as if there isn't any discussion that could be made somewhere in the middle. Cool, it's not a real kid, thank God. However, just jumping to that one extreme every time and acting like it's the end-all be-all of this discussion is also extremely disingenuous. Like, I can still say you jerking off to a drawing that is meant to look like a kid makes you a degenerate fucking freak, especially when you share that shit on your large platform to praise it. You are admitting that you are attracted to traits that are associated with children.
Yeah, well, at least it's not a real child.
That's not the discussion. You are attracted to attributes associated with little kids. And defending this by claiming it's just a drawing doesn't mean your sexual preferences are fake. Believing CSAM is way worse than Lolicon and believing that people who are attracted to Lolicon are fucked up in the head is not mutually exclusive.
Most of the time when people are this adamant about lolly content that are basically saying it is the equivalent of actual real people, most of the time from what I have seen, they turn out to be some form of, like, a problem or a criminal themselves, or they have skeletons in the closet.
Okay, so now we're just insinuating that Schlep is a pedophile because he said Lolicon is pedophilia? Crazy leap past the bounds of logic, but reaching for a shit talking point isn't anything new for this video.
I feel like Schlep should be really ashamed of himself for even making a post like this. Once again, if he wanted to call lollies and stuff weird, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. That is completely fine.
Going back to this admittance of, yeah, lolly is weird, and I understand why people don't like it, even though we're talking about Lolicon, which is the sexualization of lollies, and not just lollies themselves, but I digress. Chibi titles the video, "Lolicons are weird," in quotes, as if he's mocking people who say this. And to be fair, being attracted to cartoon children is not just a little bit weird or a situation of, I personally don't like that, it's kind of strange, but you do you. No, this is past the realms of just being weird. You are a creep if drawings of little girls cause you to pop a boner. End of story. I'm not gonna pretend this should be socially acceptable or should be normalized. And people like Chibi aren't just doing this behind closed doors, they're loud and proud about their sexual desire for cartoon little girls. It's not about Lolicon being used to control their deviant urges, but to normalize it. Why do you feel the need to post images of sexualized cartoon children if not to make it more acceptable in the eyes of others? I really don't know why Chibi thought making a Lolicon defense video was at all necessary. Like, sure, debunking Schlep for possibly conflating CSAM and Lolicon makes sense, but if Chibi's video just focused on that talking point, then I wouldn't be making my video. That distinction is worth bringing up, but again, it's this constant downplay of Lolicon. Sure, it's not real children, but it's still vile and deserves to be shamed, especially when you keep parading it around. Chibi isn't the only one who's loud and proud about his Lolicon obsession. I've seen people write a whole-ass college thesis-length essay on why it's okay for them to jerk off to prepubescent characters. This shit is spreading like a sulfuric-smelling wildfire of depravity.
I will say, I will always have the stance to protect fictional content. I have been very adamant about this for a very long time, and no amount of death threats, doxings, people trying to scare me off the internet, slandering my name, false accusations, whatever, nothing along that lines is going to make me stop talking about what I believe in and how people have a right to express themselves in art and also within literature.
Alright, so it's obvious Chibi is attempting to present his altruistic motive of defending Lolicon from a more free speech angle, sort of like an anything goes type of talking point. He also tried to make this apparent on his Twitter account several times. Please like this video and share this post. I'm about to trigger a lot of antis for defending Lolly in this video. I fight for freedom of expression within artwork and won't bend the knee on this. If you think this drawing is real, take your medication, pal. Let it be known, I'd have way more sponsorships, make more money, deemed less problematic, and overall wouldn't get harassed as badly if I said, liking lollies means you're a PDF, aka a corpo shill, seeking clout online. However, I stand my ground on freedom of expression within artwork, writing, and games. They have tried to run me off the internet for not kneeling, and I refuse to bow to those that will mock me when I die over fictional content. Oh my god. But when you take a look at his other Twitter posts, you'll find that maybe the reason why Chibi is so adamant about defending this material is because it's most likely part of his wank folder. Here's one of him calling this art peak. a blushing little cartoon girl in a skimpy outfit. Here we have one where he creams his pants because of a panty shot from this little kid character. This one's probably my favorite though. Someone made a statement that instead of gooning to the 10-year-old version of Gwen from Ben 10, we should goon to the adult version. Chibi then responds by saying he prefers blowing a load to the little kid version. What makes you more attracted to the 10-year-old version than the adult?
People are going this hard after, let's say, lolly content. Why aren't they going hard after Game of Thrones? There's some very crazy stuff within Game of Thrones' books, by the way, that have actual characters that are technically not 18 plus within it. But for some reason, that is completely fine because you want to know why? It's popular. It's a big series. People accept it.
No, it's because there's a difference between portraying and acknowledging taboo subjects in fiction and actively idolizing it. You merely state that Game of Thrones includes subject matter that involves sexual themes and underage characters, and not that they're glorifying it. But what do you honestly believe George Martin's intent was when including this material in his books? Was it to arouse his readers with this material, or to merely present dark themes and display how harsh of a world Westeros is?
Well, I don't think intent matters.
It absolutely does fucking matter. You include this type of material as long as the intent is to make the audience feel disgust or to educate. Also, as far as I know, there isn't a group of smelly chuds online bragging about which underage Game of Thrones character they jerk off to, like you do every week with a 10-year-old character from Ben 10.
I'm just gonna say it like it is, guys. I would make a lot more money, and I would have a lot more sponsorships if I straight up just said lolly is bad. I would. I'm just gonna be blunt. I would make so much more money, and I would be less, I would be deemed less problematic to work with, or anyone to talk with me, if I just straight up went against it.
Wait, so when you don't have an outlandish, degenerate ass-cheeks take, more people are willing to like you? No shit. Next you'll tell me that someone like Hassan would garner more fans if you didn't endorse terrorism. Terrorists are bad. Anyways, this video is fucking ass, and it smells like ass. Even Chibi's tweets prior to this video dropped a few hints this response would be filled with weak talking points. If we use schlep and other people's logic, basically, if you play GTA, that means you're a murderer. What a ridiculous comparison. One triggers sexual impulses and arousal, the other does not. Lolicon is made to arouse consumers. Violence in video games is meant to be entertainment and nothing else. There is a level of detachment to over-the-top violence that we as humans are able to distinguish between reality and fiction. There is zero detachment to what arouses you.
But GTA has sexual themes.
Yeah, and they involve adults, not children. This is why we don't have games like Call of Rape, where instead of shooting terrorists and Nazis, your objective is to full sprint at women walking by themselves at night. No one is playing GTA 5 because they crave violence and must bathe in more blood of their enemies. However, sexual material does lead to many craving more because it's sexual. I'm not saying video games aren't addictive, but it's not because gamers are bloodthirsty for more carnage or whatever. Preparing for the death threats being hurled my way soon as I upload my video. Also, people using my personal life to shift the topic away from what I'm actually saying, I would be thankful if you all support it today by leaving a like and comment when it's uploaded. Yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that. And any sane, rational person would stay far away from you and your filthy, filthy channel.